this song. Never heard a man speak like this man before. Never heard a man speak like this man before. All the days of my life, ever since I've been born, I never heard a man speak like this man.
A long time ago, an unusual series of events led to the deaths of more than 900 people in the middle of a South American jungle. Though dubbed a massacre, what transpired at Jamestown on November 18, 1978 was to some extent done willingly, making the mass suicide all the more disturbing. The Jamestown cult, officially named the People's Temple, was founded in 1955 by Indianapolis preacher James Warren Jones. Jones, who had no formal theological training, based his liberal ministry on a combination of religious and socialist philosophies. After relocating to California in 1965, the church continued to grow in membership and began advocating their left-wing political ideals more actively. With an IRS investigation and a great deal of negative press mounting against the radical church, Jones urged his congregation to join him in a new, isolated community where they could escape American capitalism and criticism and practice a more communal way of life. In 1977, Jones and many of his followers relocated to Jamestown, located on a tract of land the People's Temple had purchased and begun to develop in Guyana 3 years earlier. Relatives of cult members soon grew concerned and requested that the U.S. government rescue what they believed to be brainwashed victims living in concentration camp-like conditions under Jones' power. Jones took everything he could from his followers, much of it in the form of welfare and social security checks, using blackmail, extortions, and any other available means. The local press reported about 7 mysterious deaths of those who attempted to leave the church due to conflicts with Jones. Accusations of kidnapping, beatings, and sexual abuse began to circulate. To escape controversy, Jones moved to San Francisco and became an important fundraiser for the Bay Area political establishment. Soon, he was schmoozing with the liberal and radical elite, meeting with, among others, Rosalind Carter and Angela Davis. Jones was rewarded by being put in charge of the City Housing Commission, and key followers were awarded jobs in the welfare department. The bulk of Jones' flock came from the unemployed and dispossessed people found there. The cult preyed on the poor and helpless, going out of its way to enlist women, children, and minorities. Many members were recruited directly from San Francisco mental hospitals. However, the move to San Francisco did little to quiet the controversy surrounding his church, and a 1977 expose put Jones on the defensive. He then moved his utopia to Guyana, aided once again by the U.S. Embassy. After receiving complaints lodged by relatives of cult members, Congressman Leo Ryan visited Jamestown on November 18, 1978, to investigate allegations of human rights abuses. Congressman Ryan, a noted CIA critic, had authored the Hughes-Ryan Amendment, which would have required the CIA to disclose to Congress in advance details of all covert operations. The State Department offered Ryan no answers or assistance, despite numerous inquiries. He arrived with U.S. Embassy official Richard Dwyer, as well as some journalists. Among the reporters was Tim Reitnerman, who had covered the Patty Hearst story of the San Francisco Examiner. In all likelihood, Ryan already suspected what was really going on at Jamestown. After reportedly having his life threatened by a temple member during the first day of his visit, Ryan decided to cut his trip short and return to the U.S. with some Jamestown residents who wished to leave. As they boarded their plane, a group of Jones' guards opened fire on them, killing Ryan and 4 others. Some members of Ryan's party escaped. However, upon learning this, Jones told his followers that Ryan's murder would make it impossible for the commune to continue functioning. Rather than returning to the United States, the People's Temple would preserve their church by making the ultimate sacrifice, their own lives. Jones' 912 followers were given a deadly concoction of purple Kool-Aid mixed with cyanide, sedatives, and tranquilizers. Jones apparently shot himself in the head. Mothers and fathers gave the deadly drink to their children and then drank it themselves. People screamed, bodies trembled, and within a few minutes, on November 18, 1978, 912 people were dead. Behind his public image as beloved leader, he interracially harmony, as some would say, and he was a father, as Jones was called, assumed a Messiah-like presence in the People's Temple. Increasingly, he became the personal object of the members' devotion, and used their numbers and obedience to gain political influence and power. At one level, the deaths at Jamestown can be viewed as the product of obedience, of people complying with the orders of a leader and reacting to the threat of force. In the People's Temple, whatever Jim Jones commanded, the members did. As Jim Jones said, "If we can't live in peace, then let's die in peace." We have been so terribly betrayed.